Hello, welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So today's video is still on the rush shooting, but it's more from industry professionals. One of those long-term things that I've been saying whilst I've been doing the reporting on this situation, this tragedy, was it's never happened on the John Wick movies, it's never happened on this movie, it's never happened on this movie, etc. And one of the co-creators of Sons of Anarchy and Mayans, creator Kurt Sutter, he did an interview for other bits and pieces, but in it he touched on the Alec Baldwin, Halyna Hutchins shooting, and those are both series which predominantly do feature weaponry, and he takes quite a middle of the road approach to it all, but it's interesting because he says things which I had been saying this whole time, which was, if you follow the protocols, the situations don't occur. Which, I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? The protocols are there for a reason. I'll just turn this down for a little bit because the decibels are peaking. Sorry about that. The protocols are there, the safety protocols are there, and he highlights essentially what he thinks is, the reason why it all happened, which is that they just weren't followed, which is kind of a bit of a no-brainer. And the real take-home is that, and the headliner quote is, "I can't wrap my head around the fact that live ammo was anywhere near the set." It shouldn't have been. People shouldn't be using movie props for plinking out of hours. There is no reason you would be using, property of the production company in a sort of a downtime fashion like that, in such an unsafe way. It's just, it's a tragedy, right? The whole thing's a tragedy. So let's dive into this. If you have appreciated my coverage, please do hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. Also, I would say, guys, please do follow me over on Twitter and Instagram. It is just at Mr. H Reviews. The link to the Twitter is in the description box. I don't know if Instagram is, but please do check it out. So let's dive into it. Yes, Christmas tree's up. Yes, it's not December. I don't care. So here's, all of this stuff here is just him discussing his new series that he's bringing to Netflix, which is called The Abandons, which I would imagine is going to be a very similar sort of thing. I mean, it's a Western sort of thing, but similar to his other things that he's, created, Sons of Anarchy, etc. It'll be that he has a style, doesn't he? At the end of the day, quite a good style. I mean, it's proven to be very, very fruitful for him. Don't really want to get too much into this stuff here, because it's not, that's not the point of this, but it's just to show you the extensive nature of the interview. This is Deadline. They had quite an extensive interview with him. So all the way, and then we come to this, which says, since Sutter has spent the past 20 years writing dramas where gunplay is plentiful, I asked for his assessment in the ongoing discussion of what steps might be taken to ensure the gunfire ready tragedy on the set of Rust is not replicated, where cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was fatally shot and director Joel Souza injured when Alec Baldwin demonstrated in rehearsals how he would draw a pistol which, loaded with a live round, obviously resulted in that. So he says this, and this is coming from, I guess an industry veteran at this point in time, especially in the field of gunplay in the media he's producing. So he says this, and I quote, "I have tried to avoid talking because anything I might say would feel like judgment. On all my sets, from The Shield to Sons, we had guns in almost every scene, but we never had an incident. We had a machine in place for props and safety. We had some motorcycle spills, but never an incident with weapons. And that's because we followed protocol, especially after what happened to Brandon Lee. That kicked a certain amount of safety protocols into gear. We hired competent prop people, and we had actors who were smart, and there were always gun tests in front of cast and crew. There was always an announcement of hot gun on set, meaning that there was a sound load in it, and then everything else was always rubber. I don't know what went down on that set. My sense, from listening to the information that's coming in, the letting go of union crew and bringing on non-union crew, that those safety protocols were not met. You didn't have people that either knew about them or thought that they were important, right? Because experientially they didn't know. Now, whose fault is that? Is it the producer's fault? Is it the director's fault? I don't know where the blame lands, but to me, that's the whole, right? And you can't fault his words here. But like I said, it goes back to what I was saying, because I've done videos before. People wanted me to talk about Dwayne Johnson going, we're never going to use real guns on set anymore. We're always rubber guns. And like, I get that. You know, that's fine, but it does shift the conversation away from what's happened, which was a failure in protocols and safety. Because at the end of the day, that should be the focus. That should be the conversation. It's all well and good saying that, but if those things were in place and used, protocols, then the situation wouldn't have occurred in the first place. And that's the really important discussion. While it needs to, you know, that's where you keep the conversation at, basically. Now, he does say this on the topic of rubber guns. He says, if ultimately rubber guns is the way it has to go and becomes the next level of safety, I completely understand, and let's do that, because you can do so much with CG now. I'll land on and support whatever the empirical data proves. Man after my own heart, that's great. Someone who relies on data more than, you know, feelings. And whatever the unions decide, and I will wholly support that. But here's the deal, Mike. I'm sure there have been accidents and near accidents on sets in the past that we've never heard of. So the fact that this happened in such a tragic and ultimately and rightfully so in a very public way, I don't think that happens in a vacuum, right? So perhaps we need to take this as a sign in terms of let's reevaluate how we do things. And this is true. I think that that's fair enough. Now he says this further. He says, you know, Sutter said it needs to be taken as seriously as the COVID protocols that allowed the industry to resume. So he says, and I quote, was what happened an isolated incident? Maybe, maybe not. And I don't think we can take that risk. So whatever the decision is, I think the point is let's look at shit and reevaluate how we do things so that these circumstances can't manifest into the perfect storm that creates this bizarre and tragic incident. And then, again, here's the thing. So as for finding that there were live rounds on the Russ set, Sutter said, and this is what I've been parroting this the whole time. He said, as soon as an actor finishes a scene, a prop master comes, takes the knife, the gun, and puts it in a box in their weapons bin and puts a lid on it and puts it on the tray. If there's more scenes to do, the tray stays with the prop person. If not, then they're taken into the prop house and they're stored until the next time they're used. An actor never walks around with any kind of weapon, even if it's a rubber gun. That's the first thing they take, and that's what I saw happen on The Shield, and that's what happened on all of my shows. And then it said this, in terms of live rounds that led to the fatality. My dog's going nuts, so sorry about that. He says that's idiocy. That is people who don't give a fuck and are using the weapons to shoot tin cans or shoot rats. And that behaviour, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe those were the non-union folks that came in. Wasn't, because they came in that morning. So that's really important distinction. They were actually, you know, they would have been union workers that were doing that. But that, to me, when I heard that, I associated it with what happened with Brandon Lee, which, even though that was obviously a tragedy and lack of protocols were there, but that wasn't live ammo, but a piece of a shell and a malfunction. As I was thinking, how did the Russ tragedy happen and create that kind of devastation? The fact that it was live ammo never even entered my mind until it came out in the press. I couldn't even wrap my brain around the fact that there was live ammo in the vicinity of a set, right? That's just negligence. People not paying attention or not having people who know what the protocol is and aren't checking. That creates the perfect storm. Whatever the potential danger is, you have to have those protocols around, and it always has to be about how do we keep everybody safe. Look, we've seen the tragedy that comes with fuck it, just get the shot. We see the tragedy of that attitude time and time and time again. It's great to get that shot, but it's not about the shot. It's about the filmmaking experience and about the production. Maybe I'm oversensitive to it because the world I live in, and it's a violent world, but you have to be hyper vigilant about putting that safety first, and that can never be the fucking corner you cut. Which I think, I mean, never a truer word was said, basically. It echoes a lot of my own sentiments, but it's nice to have this confirmed from someone we can consider to be an industry veteran. So I thought you'd find this interesting and appreciate this update, at least from the discussion in-house, right? This is in-house. This is the industry talking about it now in a way that we haven't seen yet. And this is good. It keeps the pressure on, and hopefully we'll get some sort of outcome from the DA and the Sheriff's Department. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. Again, you can support the channel multiple ways, just by following, liking videos, things like that. You can become a member, or you can join my Patreon, or as Jasper, my dog, started to bellow out during this video, you can also grab some awesome Christmas merch, which is underneath the video and linked in the description box. But thank you so much. Take care.